Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. And we certainly have a perspective this morning. An unusual guest, maybe two guests, as a matter of fact. As we always try to start Viewpoint with a couple of kudos. And if I may, Mrs. Busby, I'd like to make a couple of personal kudos, if I may.
You go for it.
As you know, your neighbor's tree came down in a hurry and fell on your house.
Did you know that, Jim?
And in any event, we're all lucky nobody got hurt and no major damage. Point being, I called Mr. Baker, Steve Baker, and I made two calls, as a matter of fact, and Mr. Baker responded right away and came over and took care of the problem immediately on a Saturday. Had what I thought was a very, very fair price. And so the point being is that he responded. And, sometimes little things mean a lot.
You're darn right.
It sure made a lot to us. So, and
it's easier in a small town to get response, I think, than it would
really
be in the big city.
And it's very pleasant. Anyway, it all worked out very well, and thanks to Steve Baker very much. The other day, I received in the mail a couple of pictures of Gene and I from way back in the late 60s. And the way they came about is this young lady was a daughter of one of my high school friends. He came from an odd fellow's home in those days. They called it the orphan's home. Politically incorrect, certainly. But in any event, that's what it was called. And Leonard Mack had a daughter, Sarah. And Len's gone now. And she was going through her father's things. Came across a couple of pictures of Gene and I, and the odds are 75% of the people doing that. Well, that's nice, and throw them in a wastebasket. She was kind enough to send them to Gene and I, which I appreciated. Little thing. Anyway, well, Kitty Callan song was little things mean a lot.
They do.
Yeah, really do. All right, let's get serious now. We have a couple of guests that we want to introduce, and I'm going to pass the baton to you while you do that.
Okay, we are going to be talking this morning about medical marijuana.
Perspectives.
It's certainly timely, and it's certainly appropriate for us because we've got a plant right here in our big city. Scott Miller has a plant up. Give me the name of that town again.
Canton.
I knew that.
Sure, you knew that.
I was just seeing if you remembered.
You were just testing me.
Testing you.
You were just testing me.
I was just testing you. And Greg Gossett, recently retired from the illustrious state of Illinois as a warden up there in Canton, is going to be in charge of security at the plant, because I suppose with it all growing there in your town, somebody might be interested in picking themselves a few sprigs. So there is security at these plants. And we're going to be talking with Scott Miller and Greg Gossett about medical marijuana. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen. Appreciate your taking your time to be with us. I know that you had to step away from the coffee bar or something early this morning. I guess maybe the first question I would like to ask Scott is, besides the fact that there might be a chance to make an honest dollar, how did you happen to get pointed towards being a retailer for medicinal cannabis?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm still not sure myself. No, like you said, I'm a business guy at heart, so this opportunity rolled around, and I've been looking for most of my businesses that I've had have been in Peoria, Illinois, which is about 45 minutes east of Canton, and so I was doing a lot of stuff over there, but I've been involved in the Canton Economic Development group here for quite a while. And so I was always looking for something that I could maybe do, and people would ask me, why don't you do some of your businesses in Canton? And so this one came along and seemed to fit that mold. And so I had a couple advocates that were approaching me to, as you can tell, our phone's right. That might not be
somebody wants some weed.
Get rid of that, but why don't you just put that out there? I had a couple advocates here in town, Caprice and Eric Sweat, they actually run a outreach program for us into the community, medical cannabis outreach, and they've been advocates for legal medicinal marijuana for a long time. She is a Crohn's. She has Crohn's and has been a marijuana medicinal legal user in Colorado for many years, and it's changed her life. So they were the ones that kind of got me interested in it in the first place, to take a look at it. And I went to a meeting about it, and next thing you know, here we are with Salveo Health and Wellness Dispensary, where we are the dispensers of the cannabis, and we work with all the different growers in the state, including the one closest to us is Nature's Grace and Wellness out of Vermont, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mr. Miller, there must be some licensure process that one has to go through. I know in Ohio, when they voted it down, the state had handpicked a few merchants who would be growing and selling this. And I don't know what they did here in Illinois in order to bring this to the public. What kind of licensure procedures are there?
Yeah, it's called, the Illinois law is kind of called the most stringent law in the United States, and part of the reason for that is not only because of the restrictions on it, but also the process to get licensed to be either a dispensary, which is the retail portion, or a cultivator, which is the growing portion. Mm-hmm. The process was about 15 months. It included, boxes of application documents to the state, and it included requirement for bonds. For example, the growers had to put up $2 million bonds, performance bonds, that basically said, we're going to do everything we said we were going to do in our application, and we will be up and growing within 6 months of your selection. If not, you can take that $2 million bond. We also, as a dispensary, had to issue that kind of assurance. It was only $50,000 for us. Both sides had an application fee just to put the application in, whether you won or not. The cultivation fee was $100,000 non-refundable application fee, and a lot of those guys lost, so they lost that fee. Ours was $5,000, so it was a little bit less. I want to say there were somewhere around 300 applicants for growing and for selling the medical cannabis, and out of those 300, there were roughly 60 awarded to retail sell medical cannabis, and about 18 to grow the medical cannabis, and that was all distributed throughout the state based on the state police districts.
I see.
So there was 1 or 2 allowed per district, depending on how populated that district was.
Well,
Is there some outfit then from the government who comes periodically and checks your place to see that your varieties, for lack of a better word, of the cannabis are all kept separate from one another's? Like pills, you don't take arthritis medicine for gout or whatever.
Right.
So anyway, who would it be? And is it the FDA or what?
No, we are governed under the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. So they're the same guys that license doctors, license pharmacists. There's like 75 different professions in Illinois that they license, and we are required to go through background checks, FBI background checks, to be able to even work at the facility. And then we are licensed and badged by the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. They actually have 24/7 access access to our systems, which includes a security system with cameras. They have access to watch those cameras all day long, which they have been doing. They'll call us periodically and say, you need to make sure that door stays shut, or something along those lines.
Really?
And then they also have access to our accounting software that accounts for every gram of medical cannabis that we have in the facility, where it is, who it got sold to, make sure it reconciles out so there's no theft or anything. And that's why I got Greg here. I was lucky enough to get Greg from the prison. He was the warden here at the local prison. We've been friends.
Yeah, let's make that clear. He was not in the prison.
Yeah.
I said, how would you like to come guard medical cannabis when you retire? And he said, sounds like fun. So I know he's probably got a little bit of ribbing from some of his former employees, but we're having fun so far out here.
Well, by the way, just as a personal aside, John Malone said to tell you hello. John Malone is a very, very important part of our Lincoln College communications department. He's got teaches communications down here, and he said he was a good friend of yours from up that way.
He is, absolutely. I haven't talked to John in a while, but I know that he has had quite a career in the industry, and whenever I do see him, we always spend a little time catching up.
Well, he's working on his doctorate, by the way. But now let's talk about growing cannabis. You have access to how many places from which you can buy? Several around the state, or how do you select your sources?
Yeah, we've been purchasing medical cannabis. We've only this is day 10 of selling, and we've been purchasing from every cultivator in the state that's been growing that's had medicine available. And currently that's about 4 of the cultivators have had medicine available at this point. There are, however, 15 of the 18 cultivators that are now currently growing. So when we first started out, there was a little bit of a shortage of medicine, and now that everybody's growing, I think within a month or so, there's going to really be plenty of medicine for everybody. We have built a relationship with some of the guys that are a little closer to us, because that probably makes some sense. So we're working closely with Nature's Grace and Wellness out of Vermont, Illinois. We're working with Ace Delavan, which is in Delavan. We're working with GTI, which is in Rock Island, and we're working with Ataraxia, which is down by Marion.
Now, do you have any knowledge of the facility which is now under construction here in Lincoln, Illinois?
No, I don't. I was just asking Greg, what's the name of that grower? Do you know offhand?
No, I do not. I know nothing about it at all, and I was just curious to know. It's coming along pretty fast. I think it will be up and going rather quickly. I know they put out applications for employment and so forth. So I didn't know. I read. Let's see, you're 10 days into operations. Is that correct, Scott?
Yes.
Now, from day one, have you had a lot of activity in Canton, Illinois?
Yeah, we have. We were one of basically 5 dispensaries to open across the state originally. So we had patients that went ahead and came to us from all over the state, because there was, only 5 available. So we've been having people coming from Springfield and Peoria and the Quad Cities, and even a few from Chicago that kind of liked what we were doing here. So we've just been swamped the first week, and kind of exceeded our expectations of what we were going to do out of here in a week. And because these folks are driving from a long distance away, they purchase, pretty high quantity, up to the limit. There's a limit of 2.5 ounces every 2 weeks for these patients. And because they were coming from farther away, they all purchased a little bit more medicine. But let me also just say, although I don't know the cultivator in that area where you're at, I can tell you a little bit about the cultivators that I do know and that this cultivator is probably going to look like. Their facilities are state-of-the-art. They've spent millions and millions of dollars on these. The security requirements for these cultivators, including perimeter fencing, electronic access through the gates, cameras everywhere, you name it, these places are like Fort Knox, and I'm sure the one there by you is also going to be like that. In addition, these cultivators have shown that they are hiring quite a few people. Sometimes you see those projections, we're going to hire X number of people, and then when it comes through, it doesn't really work that way, but they're definitely in need of people. So it's been a nice economic kind of boost to the areas where those cultivators are up and running. And generally, these are very, very professional people that are running these cultivators. And as a side note, the kind of the word on the street right now from the results of the first 10 days from patients are that this is some of the best medicine, the best marijuana that they've ever used in their lives. So, kudos to the cultivators. They're growing just really some of the best marijuana in the country right out of the gate. So they know what they're doing.
Scott, does your enterprise there, do you consider yourself a cultivator, or do you sell directly to the patients who want this, or all of the above?
No, we just sell directly to the patient. So we're the dispensary.
Retailer. And
we receive the medicine directly from the cultivator. And in Illinois, everything is prepackaged. So we receive the marijuana in a sealed, prepackaged, basically think of it as a pill bottle. And then they grow it, they ship it to us, and then we sell it to only cardholders, state cardholders that went through their background check and have one of the 38 qualifying medical conditions.
In the beginning, like 10 days ago, they thought that there weren't as many people who had signed up to use this as they had figured on. How is that going now?
There's still only 3,300, patients that are all the way approved. But with the start of and that's not very many. And part of that is because the process is extremely difficult. There's about 7 hurdles that you have to get over, including a background check. You have to go get fingerprinted. You have to pay $160 between the fingerprints and the application fee. You have to get a doctor that's going to recommend that you would benefit from medical cannabis. You have to then select a dispensary, which is another form, so on and so forth. So it's a very, very tough process to get through. But what we've seen is since we've opened, the phones have been ringing off the hook for more and more people now that want to get registered. They want to go ahead and get their card now. They were just kind of waiting to see, what was going to happen. But right now in Illinois, there is a little bit of a log jam in the application process because doctors are still getting comfortable with this recommendation process, and they're still learning about medical cannabis, and so there's not enough doctors that are recommending it yet to their patients, and so a lot of people that want the medicine right now are not able to get it because they just can't get a recommendation from their doctor. So that's going to be a slower process, and we'll have to take some time and help educate the doctors and the medical community on the benefits. But trust me when I say, if you spend a day in our dispensary, there would be absolutely no question question in anyone's mind whether there was a benefit to these patients or not even a doctor.
Mm-hmm. From what I've read, there needs to be a lot of research done here. So there must be variations in the strength or what have you of each of the varieties of the cannabis. Now, how do you know which grower to buy it from? Who has the best medical marijuana? Just by reading?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, there is a variety in the strains. For example, you know, we can have a strain called Canton that is very high in an ingredient within marijuana called CBD and low in the THC, which most people have heard of THC. And then we also have strains that are high in THC and low in some of the other stuff. So, you know, definitely we are recommending strains to our patients based on not only what we believe is going to help them most based on their condition and their symptoms, but also based on feedback from other patients and feedback from that existing patient when they come back in. We document, you know, here's the benefit that I got from these strains, here's the ones that really helped, and here's the ones that didn't help as much. So, you know, we definitely are looking at a strain-by-strain basis. In terms of who to buy from, so far what we found out is that pretty much because of the way Illinois is set up and the sophistication of the growers, they all brought in seasoned growers from Colorado or Washington State, almost every one of them, and they're growing some of the best strains in the country right now. So they hand-selected, these are the best strains that are working in the country, and therefore we're going to grow these particular strains. So we really ended up in Illinois with the creme de la creme of strains and quality. So it's not, you know, if I go to one cultivator over the other, there are some differentiators there, but it's only maybe between an A+ strain and an A strain. So, you know, the variety isn't
pretty sophisticated operation, then. It's very sophisticated. Before we take a quick station break, I'd like to remind our listeners, 648-5510. The subject today is medicinal cannabis. There are just a very few retailers in the state of Illinois, and one of them is right over here in Canton, Illinois. And our guest this morning are Scott Miller and a young fellow named of Greg Gossett, who would be Canton's Gomer Pyle, I guess. Seriously, Greg, we're going to talk about security when we come back after our commercial break. Go right ahead, Jim. And right back live in the studios here at WLCN. This is Judy Busby and Bill Gossett. Program Viewpoint, of course. 648-5510. Our guest this morning, very revealing information on the medical cannabis. That's weed to some of the people on the street, I guess. A young man is in charge of the security over there as far as building the place was concerned and now the operation of it. Our son, Greg, recently retired from the state of Illinois as a warden at the Illinois River Correctional Center over there. We're very proud of that, and he decided that rather than sit around and drink coffee, he'd go to work, get some more gainful employment. So he and Scott are working together. Greg, I'd like to know, please, how you were involved in the setting up the security as the retail establishment was being built.
Well, actually, not as much as I probably should have been, but for the most part, the state of Illinois puts some mandates of, you know, you have to have coverage basically of every square inch of the retail floor, you know, your safe room, your lobby. So the camera system we have is very state of the art, and we actually cover just about every square inch of the facility itself. Along with that, we also have glass breakage and motion detectors as well. So it's paid. I've said it time and time again. You're going to have a better shot of going in and robbing a bank than you would coming in here and robbing us.
So then, as a matter of course, are you in there and out during the course of the day as part of your duties? Tell me just a little bit about how that works, Greg.
Yeah, I have a set schedule that I am here. Obviously, if we take a delivery here, even if I'm not scheduled, I have to be here for that piece of it. As obviously the security concerns around a delivery, it's actually a weak spot, but and it goes along with anything else. Whenever you're away from your location, is actually the weakest kink in your armor.
Now, Greg, do you have people who work under you in the security area, or are you the one who's responsible for the whole thing?
Right now, at the moment, I'm it. At some point in time, we're probably going to add one or two others below me. Actually, my actual is I am primarily responsible for security, but I'm also an agent in charge. So that puts me a little bit more dealing with inventory as well, and which being the security part of it, you should be, and making sure some of the required forms are filled out for the state, and tracking basically the products that are in here along the lines of theft or shipment issue, whatever the case might be.
How is this stuff transferred? By the way, Mr. Ash came up with the name of the place, the grower here in Lincoln. It's called Cresco Labs.
Cresco, yeah, we've heard of them.
Now, how is a shipment, say, from Cresco Labs or wherever, whatever cultivator, how is it sent to you folks there in Canton?
Well, the cultivator arranges the delivery. So what he would do is he could do it one of two ways. He can use his own security people to drive it here, or he could actually hire a independent contractor, which I wouldn't recommend, to bring it here. I would highly recommend. Yeah. I would highly recommend any cultivator in the state to use their own people to bring it here, just for accountability purposes only.
So you don't have to Brinks truck or anything like that. Like there now.
I have not had a Brinks truck pull up here. Yeah. and that would be, in my opinion, overkill.
Yeah. Go ahead, Judy. You had a question.
Well, I was wondering how many people actually you employ at that facility.
We have about 7 employees here.
Is that a fact? Really?
Yep. Yeah. Hey, just one note on Cresco. Now that I know who it is, we know Cresco pretty well too. Our medical cannabis outreach helps run one of their call centers. Mm-hmm. But just to give you a little bit of information on them, they're one of the more sophisticated growers in the state, and they recently launched a $1 million general advertisement campaign across the state to help educate the general public on medical cannabis. And as a result of that effort, they also have opened a general call center where people can call in and get help getting signed up for the program and getting questions asked and so forth. So they've kind of been a leader in the industry in terms of helping to promote the industry a little bit. But I can tell you for sure they are going to have a very sophisticated cultivation center there because they know what they're doing.
How much of a economic impact would that be in a community like Lincoln to have a facility like that?
I think it's going to be big. I mean, some of the numbers that I've been seeing, it could be up to, ultimately when things are clicking on all cylinders, it could be 50 jobs. And I don't know what they've been quoted as saying there, but I have seen some of the cultivators saying that they would hire up to 50 jobs, and that's all the way from security to growers, to they actually manually cut the plants and dry those plants out to get them ready to ship. They have to pack the containers, those type of things. So, and the building of the facilities usually is a pretty good economic boom. Generally, these cultivators have spent upwards of about $10 million on these facilities. So you're getting some nice benefit in a community like Lincoln, which is very similar to Canton in size and, almost everything. We have a junior college. They have, very similar communities. And I know a grower here would have been a real nice addition to the community.
While we're on finance, I'm curious as to what the medicinal marijuana costs. You can go to the drugstore and get some kinds of pills for just a couple dollars, and you can get other kinds of pills for $800. On that sliding scale, where would medical marijuana come in about?
Well, you're looking at our pricing, and each dispensary pretty much can set their own prices, what they want to charge. So I'll just talk about ours.
Right.
Like if you wanted a small amount, like a gram is the smallest amount we could get you, is $19. You can go all the way up to 2.5 ounces of medical cannabis in a 2-week period or a 14-day period. An ounce, we charge $385 per ounce here.
That got my attention.
Yeah, but now to get it at all, don't you have to have a prescription from the doctor?
Well, Judy, it's really not a prescription. It's It's called a recommendation for use from the doctor. So that's kind of a misnomer out there in the community. Doctors really are not prescribing. Matter of fact, nobody really prescribes the use of medical marijuana. It's just a recommendation for use. Then once you get that, you start your state process in order to receive your medical cannabis card. But it has to be one of the 38 conditions on the list. And Dad, I read a letter from Mom the other day, and my God, you could very well have one of these conditions on the list. So if you ever wanted to jump out there.
Well, as the years go by, one gets conditions.
Say, by the way, speaking of employment, if you paid mileage, I'd come and make an application to be Greg's assistant.
Yeah.
or I'd stay from Monday to Friday, I guess. Seriously, how many varieties of medicinal cannabis are there? They're like in seed corn and beans is over there, very different varieties. How many do we have in the cannabis field?
Currently, we offer 13 different strains. Now,
how does one know the difference?
Yeah,
it's a strain name, and they do a little bit different. It all depends on what the patient actually wants to get out of it. But there's really there's really only 4 main how can I put this categories that each strain would fall in. Like a sativa-based, a pure sativa is a strain that we would recommend you to use during the daytime because it makes you a little bit more active. Then they also have what we call a hybrid sativa, which does incorporate some
Don't talk like that on the air.
What's that?
He was just being facetious. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, that might be something for you, Dad. It'll give you some stamina.
There you go.
Don't go there.
We also have an indica, which is more like in the couch, so it's more like a nighttime type, and a hybrid indica.
Well, do you have to?
I'm impressed,
Indica,
Greg.
INDICA, indica.
Do you have to have a special kind if you're going to put it in brownies or chocolate chip cookies, or?
No, absolutely not. Actually, the cultivation centers are going to make what they call edibles. So they'll already make like a cookie, and but we have what we call a butter maker. To where you can grind up your herb and make butter out of it. You can put it on toast.
Hallelujah.
Now, and that's another source of income. You sell that kind of equipment in your store?
Oh, absolutely. There is...
Scott, you thought of it all, brother.
Yeah, as far as paraphernalia goes, we sell glass pipes, the bubblers, which you guys would probably have seen as it's another word for a bong type thing.
I remember some of those in my garage.
That was Jeff, Dad. That wasn't Greg.
When they expanded the list of afflictions that were valid for the use of the medical marijuana, they finally got down to osteoarthritis, which by my age, I think everybody has. I'm just kind of coming unhooked here. I'll be like a boneless, skinless chicken, just flopping around on the ground. So I could then theoretically use this product. But if I don't have a regular prescription for it, how do I know what kind I want or what it's going to do for me, how much of whatever kind I need do I need, and all those kinds of things? Who's going to determine all that?
Actually, Judy, that's basically our job. When if you were deciding to use this, and as far as the dispensing agent, basically just talking to the patient, we can figure out what you want to get out of this, and we will recommend what you actually purchase.
So you almost have to be a doctor, don't you?
Not necessarily. You just have to know what the product actually does.
We've done a lot of research here. There's actually a ton of research out there about different strains, what's working best for different conditions, and we've done all that research. So there's no academic curriculum that's going to prepare you for this at this point. Some of the dispensaries do have pharmacists on staff. We do not, but the reality of it is a pharmacist doesn't know as much as I know about medical cannabis right now, and that's just because we've spent the last 2 years, reading research reports, reading reports from existing patients as to what's working and what's not, and how much we might want to use, and those type of things. Until we, have a little bit more tread on our tires here, we'll kind of just be working with the patients directly to, understand how our recommendations are working for them, and then we document that in our system. So we're kind of learning also as we go. Just to be honest with you, that's part of the process here.
Surely. How about, quote, for want of a better word, refills? Your customers, they must be there in person. You do not refill anything by United Parcel or mail?
No, that's correct. They have to come in here and get checked into our state site, provide proper ID. That state site is up and live, so if they don't if they don't pop into that state site, if that state site doesn't say, hey, you are a registered patient, we can't do anything about it. If it doesn't come up that they're in there, we cannot sell to them. And so, yes, they have to come in here. They can also have a caregiver designated to them, one caregiver per person, usually as a family member or something, so that if they are too sick to be able to get in here, then the caregiver can come in and get their medicine for them the same way as if they were going to purchase it themselves. And, let me just, kind of, I wouldn't say reiterate because I haven't said it yet, but, state that of the 38 conditions, we are having, our demographic of patients this first 10 days has been 6 sick people that are 45 to 65 years old. So no doubt about it, these are sick people. In many cases, when they come in to purchase, they need to sit down or they're in a wheelchair or, some other condition that's really hurting them. So they have been extremely happy to be able to come in and purchase their medicine legally. Like I said, the results that we're getting so far is just life-changing in terms of instead of taking a bunch of pills, they are now able to medicate with a legal, natural plant. The early feedback is just absolutely incredible.
That's amazing. Scott, what is the name of your retail establishment, sir?
It's Salveo Health and Wellness, and anybody that wants to call us can reach us at 309-647-9333. One of the things that we're noticing is a lot of the patients are waiting for their dispensary to open in their area because they've already jumped through a lot of hoops. They do have the ability to call the state, and we can provide that phone number. They can call the state and get their dispensary switched to one that's open, and then they can just switch it right back. There's a 24-hour waiting period. There's no fee to switch dispensaries, so they have to be registered to one dispensary at a time so that we can clearly track their purchases, but they are able to go ahead and switch that now, and then when their dispensary gets open, they could switch back to their own dispensary.
Our guests this morning have been Scott Miller, who has been demonstrated a definite entrepreneurial spirit in opening up a medicinal marijuana or cannabis, I guess they say, a store in Fulton County up there in Canton. And for want of a better title, Greg, Chief of Security, our son Greg Gossett. We appreciate this has been a rather unusual morning for Judy and I. We found we just barely scratched the surface, but we found out a lot. And we appreciate very much your time, gentlemen. Wish you well. And the Timex says we have to get off the air. Oh, I will close with one comment. Way back, that fellow's name was Richard Nixon. He said federal and state laws should be changed to no longer make it a crime to possess marijuana for private use. Oh, tricky Dick. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.